Welcome back to Dragon Quest II. In the previous episode, I traveled to Hamlin, investigated the ruins of Moonbrook Castle, finding about the plight of the Princess of Moonbrook. I retrieved the Mirror of Ra from a swamp east of Hamlin, used it to break the curse of the Princess of Moonbrook, who joined my party. I then braved the Tower of Wind, acquiring the Cloak of Wind, which allows for short-distance gliding. With a full party, I'll head westward to my next destination. So let's get to it! I grind for a bit to prepare for my next travels. Beta reaches level 8, learning the Repel spell, and once Rastaban reaches level 15, I decide to end the grind. I then head to the west, going past Moonbrook Castle, finding a monolith that acts as a underwater tunnel. New enemies found on the other side of the river include Carnivogs. These enemies have a sweet breath ability that can put the party to sleep. Stop spell is no solution against this. And Mummy Man, incredibly strong enemies with high HP but pitiful defense. Since the mountains block my path to the south, I continue along to the north, finding a tower known as the Dragon's Horn. New enemies that can be found on this tower include Medusa Balls, strong enemies that can cast sleep and sometimes act twice per turn, enchanters, spellcasting enemies with a variety of spells in their repertoire, and demighosts, strong attackers that can potentially act twice and inflict critical hits. I actually had to return to Hamlin then back to this tower due to strong enemy activity. I climbed this 6-floor tall tower, and with the Cloak of Wind equipped to Rastaban, I jumped to the north side, falling on the other side of the river. I decide to explore the north tower, but I find nothing there, so I decide to resume my journey north. New enemies along this path include Mudman. These enemies dance a little jig that depletes a party member's MP, and Magic Baboons, enemies with a misleading name, as their only ability is a call for help. They're pretty strong though. At the end of the path, I find a new town, Lianport. Facilities in this town include an inn, a house of healing, a lottery, an item shop that sells herbs, wings, water, and dragon's banes, an equipable item that increases resistances to stop spell and sleep, and a weapon shop that sells magic knives, broadswords, wizard's wands, full plate armor, clothes hiding, and steel shields. I buy 2 sets of clothes hiding for Arfo and Peta. These armored pieces are comparable to the full plate armor and increase evasion as well. I talk to a soldier who says he comes from Alefgard, a man saying that Alefgard is to the east, the land where the descendant of Erdrick came from. Another man says that the king of Alefgard has disappeared. Near the shops of this town is a lady being attacked by Gremlins. These monsters can cast heal and sleep, as well as breathe fire, which targets the whole party. Fortunately, I deal with these guys pretty fast. With the lady rescued, her grandfather gives us his ship, allowing for sea travel. I check a room locked by a silver door. The merchant there tells of a pirate ship named Relentless, sunken with treasure. This merchant will reward us greatly if we get this treasure. Now that I can navigate the sea, I can find new enemies, like Man-O-Wars. Relatively weak enemies, they have an attack that can put party members to sleep. And sea slugs, incredibly annoying enemies. They can call for reinforcements, use sweet breath, capable of critical hits, and poisoning with their attacks. Since the continent to my east should be Alefgard, I circumnavigate it until I find the swamp cave, sailing west until I find Tentacle Castle. I enter the castle. Facilities there include an inn, a house of healing, which also includes a save point, an item shop that sells herbs, wings, water, and dragon's banes. I buy 3 of them, 1 for each party member, and a weapon shop that sells broadswords, giant hammers, wizard's wands, clothes hiding, steel shields, and iron helmets. Climbing the stairs at the shop shows the king locked in a room. A merchant asks if I know of the sunken treasure, telling me that the pirate's ship sunk to the north, while a guard on the front room says that the king hides in fear of Hargon. Another guard saying that the gold key opens red doors. I leave the castle to grind. Arfo reaches level 14, learning Heal More. Peta reaches level 10, learning Antidote. And I finish grinding when Rastaban reaches level 16. I then decide to sail around the main continent, finding a monolith on the west side, but the travel door there is locked. I need the golden key. So I continue my circumnavigation, crossing a strait where I can find new enemies that include Hawkmen, strong attackers capable of casting heal and stop spell, and gargoyles, even stronger enemies also capable of casting stop spell. I should move out of here as fast as possible. After a bit of sailing, I find a new town, or not quite. A man there being perplexed that everyone's gone, only a locked building is there, so whatever town could be here is out of reach. Once I reach the end of the peninsula, I sail further east, finding an island with a monolith, with a whopping 3 travel doors. The central door takes me to another monolith, where a wise man says that Hargon cast a spell on his castle to make it appear pleasant. Rubiss' gift will be needed to reveal the truth. I exit this monolith, finding a large landmass though. I decide to leave it for now, returning to the first monolith. The eastern door there leads me to a wise man that asks for Erdrick's token. Quite rudely, I must say. Hold on, this seems familiar. I exit, finding myself back at southeast Alefgard. Meanwhile, the west door leads me to the Lianport monolith I found earlier. The second monolith I found also had 2 other doors, but they lead me to locked rooms, so I go back to my ship. I continue sailing, finding an island to the southeast, being the island town I saw at the start of my journey. A new enemy at sea that I can find here is the Vampirus, an enemy that can act twice and call for help. I enter the town of Zahan. Facilities in this town include an inn and an item shop that sells medical herbs, wings, water, and dragon's banes. A lady says that the moon fragment will rise the tide and make seagulls cry. Another says that the cave located on a mountainous island can be accessed with the moon fragment. According to another lady, most of the men of this town left for fishing. A boy complains that a dog keeps pulling his sleeve. Torvald's wife complains that her husband cares more for his dog than her. A merchant here even knows of the sinking of the Relentless. A lady says not to advance to the wizard's house. The damaged floor here can be ruinous. As I approach the dog, he moves to a tree and barks. I decide to inspect it, finding the golden key. With this key, I go to Maiden Hall through the travel door. I open the golden door on the eastern corridor. A guard there, almost accusing me of being a thief. I open the chests there, getting a medical herb, a wyvern wing, 91 gold, and Erdrick's token. One of the chests was empty though. So I go to the monolith southeast of Tentacle, exchanging the token for the helmet of Erdrick, giving it to Rastaban. Now that I have the golden key, I have basically unlocked the travel door network through many earlier locations. The 2 locked rooms from before were actually the monoliths of Moonbrook and Cannock. I head back to Charlock Castle, unlocking the golden door there and opening the chest, getting the shield of Erdrick, giving it to Rastaban. I then go to Hamlin, opening a golden door, finding monsters in jail, and a wise man that tells me of a wizard located on a cave at sea that I should meet if I have the 5 crests. I then go to Alefgard, going to Tentacle the long way, so I meet new enemies, which include poison lilies. These enemies can poison not only with their attacks, but also using a poison breath ability. Saber tigers, enemies capable of acting twice and inflicting critical hits, and orcs, strong and bulky monsters. I open a golden door, finding a sewing shop that teaches of the location of Dew's Yarn, which is located on the 3rd floor of the North Tower of Dragon's Horn. Then I confront the king, who is incapable of helping. I sail once again to the hidden town from before. I open the golden door, and sure enough, I find stairs to the town, which lies underground. Facilities here include an inn, a house of healing, a lottery, an item shop that sells herbs, water, and dragon's banes, and a weapon shop that sells giant hammers, dragon killers, light swords, mink cloaks, shields of strength, and iron helmets. A wise man says that Don Mahon from Thun can make the water flying cloth. Another old man says that the charm of Rubiss can dispel Hargon's deceptions. A guard says that to the north was once a road that led to Rhone. A guard tells of Roge Fastfinger, who was once in prison but has since escaped. A suspicious man knows of the Jailor's key, which can apparently be bought here. I find another item shop, which includes an empty option. Turns out it's the Jailor's key, which I buy. I then open one of the cells in this town. The old man there says that Hargon lies in Rhone. I can only find the road there if I have the Eye of Malroth. I travel back to Tentacle and grind for a bit until Rastaban reaches level 17. I rest in Tentacle, then head to Charlock Castle, much more easily accessible this time. New enemies in this castle include Gorgons, bulky enemies with plenty of spells they can cast, basilisks, strong enemies that can poison when attacking, and dragonflies, enemies that like spamming fire breath. I head to the west, then south, finding stairs to the 2nd floor, go around the center, climbing down to the 3rd floor, move all the way to the western stairs to the 4th floor, finding stairs back to the 3rd floor on the center, continuing the sequence of stairs until I find myself in the center room of the 2nd floor, opening the chest there, finding the sword of Erdrick, which I give to Rastaban. I then return to the 4th floor, climbing down the center stairs to the 5th floor. At the end of this corridor, I find stairs to the 6th floor. Then I go west to climb down to the 7th floor. I talk to the figure there, who introduces himself as the Dragonlord's grandson. He says I should seek Rubiss, who lives in the sea south of Midenhall, after getting the 5 crests. I then walk through the magic floor, using plenty of healing magic, and unlocking the door there, opening chests for 152 gold, a wyvern wing, a lottery ticket, and a medical herb. I leave the castle, then rest in Tentacle. This time I've had a long journey. I traveled to Lianport, defeated the Gremlins there, getting a ship as a reward. Exploring the seas, I found Tentacle, as well as the towns of Zahan and Wellgarth. With the golden key I found at Zahan, I got much legendary equipment and unlocked the warp network for fast travel. While at Wellgarth, I bought the Jailor's key, which will allow me to open cell doors. I then finished by exploring Charlock Castle, finding the Dragonlord's grandson at the end of it, who tells me about Rubiss, who will aid me if I find the 5 crests. There's yet much to explore, but having gotten much equipment, I will face any challenge. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time, as I start the collection of the 5 crests.